everybody. This is Diane, and I would like to welcome you back to the Biters Retrospective Season 1, Episode 3. I am joined by...
Marnell, the co-host of Last Resort.
And your walker, stalker, obsessed, roving field reporter that is extremely tired right now.
Who is?
Tom. I'm so tired I forgot to even mention my name.
I was just going to say, see how tired you are?
Exactly.
You literally walked in the door getting back from the con an hour ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got the little message, are we still on for tonight, as I was opening my door.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah.
Now, so. I see that you posted some of your pictures to Walking Dead, or to Biters, rather.
I posted, I don't know if I put them on Biters yet.
Oh,
I know
okay, maybe there's a couple pictures.
Oh, I may have posted some older ones. The newer ones, I don't think I posted on Biters yet. Because I just uploaded them.
So probably by the time everybody listens to this, they'll be up.
Yes.
Right on.
True.
The one thing I guarantee will not be posted to the Biters page is the full-length video of me singing Eric Church's Springsteen last night at karaoke. Do not expect to see that on the Biters page.
You are almost obligating yourself now.
No, I guarantee you that will not ever see the light of day.
Oh.
So I'm thinking we should start a bidding, and you can go to our page on Patreon and bid for that video.
Yeah. It's gonna take a lot of bids to get that video anywhere.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. You won't get enough. Trust me. Nor is it worth it.
There's also some news that you won't have for Biters until quite a bit in the future, but I'm looking forward to the reveal when you do, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, yes.
That's it.
But I do have the answer to the question that we were discussing.
Right.
I think it was on the first episode. Was it episode 2 or 1?
I think I mentioned it on 1, but we really dug into it in 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So... yeah, so I got a definitive answer, and I wouldn't even tell you guys because I wanted to save it for the podcast.
Excellent.
So that you would have your perfect reaction.
Do we want to save it for later? Maybe when we get a little more into things? Or do you want to...
All right. No,
do you want to reveal?
You want to save it? It's up to you guys. I know the answer. Do you want to wait?
Let's do this by the book, and we'll make everyone listen to the end.
And the keywords are spooky chef.
Yes.
Well, before we get into Tell It to the Frogs, I have to just say that I think you guys probably both know, my weekend wasn't nearly as exciting as Thomas's was, but we went to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Wonder Woman, and they were both great. I had a great time.
Yeah, I've seen Guardians too, and I actually want to watch it again because it was so funny that you laugh over the parts that come next, and so I really have to watch it again.
Right on.
I haven't seen. I didn't even see the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh
to be honest.
My god! Really? It was really good.
I haven't. I'm not big into the whole superhero Marvel, all that stuff. I don't know. I've never seen Iron Man. I've never seen Avengers or any of those.
So I was a total geek for the X-Men and the Justice League when I was a teenager. So being able to see the X-Men and soon the Justice League come to life in front of my eyes is really cool.
Yeah, I wasn't. I just really liked the movies. I mean, yeah, I really couldn't pass up Chris, what's his name, shirtless.
Chris Pratt.
There's actually quite a few Chris's. You could say the guy who plays Captain America, the guy who plays Thor, the guy who plays
Steve Trevor.
Star-Lord.
No, the guy who was in who's Wonder Woman's love interest in.
Oh yeah. See, I think that one's Chris Pine.
Yeah, it
but
is.
There was actually an SNL where they made fun of how many Chris's and how they all kind of look very similar. There was a really good portion of SNL for that. But Yeah, I love all of the movies now.
I
X-Men.
will see Wonder Woman. I will see Wonder Woman
Good,
because
because it was really good.
I grew up watching Wonder Woman. Who didn't have the biggest crush on Linda Carter?
You know, I didn't, but I have to say my friend Jennifer, hey Jen, still has a crush on Linda Carter. So I think of her every time I see Linda Carter in gear, man.
I have my TV set to record. It's on every Saturday night on one of those old channels.
My husband and I were talking about it today when we went to see the movie, and I was like, you know, I haven't seen the series in years.
Every Saturday night it records. It's like 8:00 or something on some channel.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, and the Hulk. It follows the Hulk.
Of course.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
As you take a sip of your alcoholic beverage.
I wish. I was telling Marnell and Thomas when we were off podcast that it's actually just a protein drink. So
I think, and we're all alcohol free tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of us weren't last night.
Yes. Some of us might still have some of it in their bloodstream. Hence the bad video of the Eric Church song.
Oh my god. All right, so I'm going to lead off.
Numbers.
Yep. So Thomas, how did you rate it?
We're doing the ratings first. Okay. I gave it 4.75 on Golden Pond hats out of 5.
You rated it pretty high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I love the first 3 episodes. This is usually my breaking point episode. When I tell someone to watch the show, I say watch the first 3. If you're not hooked by the end of 3, then the show's probably not going to be for you.
Oh, okay. I was hooked by the pilot, so I usually expect people to be hooked by the pilot.
Right, but I mean, I was hooked by the pilot myself, but there are some the pilot has some slow parts to it.
Well, and this is where we get into the whole, this isn't like a show about zombies. This is a show about people who happen to be in the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say give it 3. Give it the first 3. If you don't like it after this one, then stop, because you probably won't.
So Martin, how did you rate it?
I rated it much lower. I rated it 3.8 severed redneck hands.
Wow.
Okay, well, you took my rating, my method of rating, but why so low? Because I'm kind of in the middle.
I had originally rated it a 4, but and what's funny is there was a lot in this episode, and there was a lot good and a lot bad, but I don't know, it was just very ho-hum for me. In that
that's funny. I struggled to find bad.
It was kind of a forgettable episode. I mean, it wasn't bad, it just like kind of nitpicky bad. But I've watched the episode twice, and I've read the synopsis, and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, that happened. It didn't seem really memorable, but it is setting it up for the final 3 episodes of the season. So to me, it's a middle book. If you ever read like a trilogy or anything, the middle book, goes over what happened in the first book, and it sets up the final book. So this is a middle book episode.
Wow, that's brutal.
Yes, and now I know I'm just not going to read the middle book of any trilogy.
Well, I rated it a 4 out of 5 severed hands, and I think the reason I gave it a 4 is that on rewatch, and this is probably like the 6th or 7th rewatch for me, it just didn't seem to hold up quite as well as the other episodes of the first season. It'll be interesting to see, probably to see how the last episode holds up for me, because that has been my least favorite one of the whole season all along. Although I love the first season, as a whole. So
right. Rewatching, just it really takes me back to when I watched it the first time, and I was reading some of the reviews that a couple of other pages did, and they're old articles, so they're right as they the episodes aired, and so it's kind of like they don't know what's coming next. And I remember that feeling of watching the episode and being like, oh, I can't wait till next week,
Well, yeah, it ends in a really great point.
Yeah,
it does. I agree.
I'm curious what the numbers were, though.
So it was 5.07 million on this as a same day watch. I didn't search for Live Plus 3 or Live Plus 7, and I still haven't answered the question of whether or not they even had those ratings at that point in time.
I really don't think that they did, because people were still not everyone was on the bandwagon for DVRs and TiVo. So I don't think that they had started tracking that yet.
Oh, and the original air date was November 14th, 2010. So
do you remember what last week's or what the second episode number was?
I want to say
it was the lowest in Walking Dead history.
Right. So it went up, obviously.
Yeah, it was 4.7.
Yeah.
So it was high, then it went down, and then it went up for this one.
And then it started to go up again. Yep.
So I'm wondering. I was thinking about this before. I wonder if that second episode had some type of competition against it that night on TV.
That's a good
question. Like maybe there was an award show or a big football game or something that was up against it, and that's why the numbers dropped down for the second episode.
Well, and it's certainly right for when it premiered, because it was in the middle of football season, so it's real possible.
Yeah. Yep. So
I didn't think... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so who did you get, who directed it?
So Frank, let's see, the writers were Frank Darabont again. So it looks like he kept a pretty tight leash on this first season. He had two co-writers, a guy named Charles Egley and Jack Leguidici. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So... Yeah. Charles Egley, Hemlock Grove, Dexter, I'm going to really date myself, Dark Angel, NYPD Blues, Moonlighting. Moonlighting.
Wow. I loved that show.
Well, I love Dark Angel.
I remember Dark Angel, and of course I remember Moonlighting, so that just means I'm really old. But he also worked on a show called The Shield, not the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but a show called The Shield, which I have.
Oh, I know the
yeah.
The Shield. I never saw it. But I know it. It had that. I forgot his name, but there was a bald actor,
Michael Chiklis.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the director, and I'll get to her in just a minute, has credits on The Shield, so I'm thinking that's kind of the tie-in between them. Then Jack Leguidici is working on Narcos currently. He worked on Sons of Anarchy, and he worked on Fear the Walking Dead, which we all know premiered last night. Season 3 premiered
and I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. The only thing I will say that's not a spoiler is that they did a 2-episode release again. So instead of making like a 90-minute single episode, they released the first 2 episodes of the season as the premiere. So it's actually a 2-hour premiere.
Yeah.
Did they stop and do credits again?
Yes, they
did. Or did they just... Oh, they did. Okay.
Which was something that kind of bugged Marnell and I both about the finale, because they did that. They did a 2-episode finale last season, and it just, I don't know, it feels kind of sloppy. I mean, if you're going to do a 2-hour premiere, do a 2-hour premiere.
Yeah, and see, for me, that's almost the trademark of we're just trying to cram episodes onto TV because we need the viewership, or we're trying to wind down the series.
See, I think they probably shot it, and now that they know the release date, they have to do 2 episodes on certain nights so that The Walking Dead can start up right after it.
That makes sense.
That's true. Yeah. Listen to you all smart and
I know, and I have no idea where it's coming from because I'm exhausted.
You just absorbed it from the climate you were in this weekend.
Two plane rides in the last 72 hours, sleeping in hotels, no sleep. Well, no sleep.
You were going to carry the episode.
You guys should all feel sorry for me.
Hell no, we're envious.
Yeah.
You saw what I posted. I'm going to move south so I can go to all the cons with you.
It was a fun weekend.
It looks like it was a fun weekend. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and there'll be stories, I'm sure, that'll pop up at some point tonight.
Excellent. See, that's why we said you were going to carry this episode. So our director was a lady named Gwyneth Horder Payton. And like I said, she was a director on The Shield. Although all of these things, she was first and second assistant director. So it looks like really her directorial debut was with this episode of Walking Dead. She's directed Grey's Anatomy, Crossing Jordan. There apparently was a Magnificent Seven reboot that ran in 99 and 2000, which I wasn't aware of, but I'm not a big Western person in spite of having horses. And she also worked on The Doors and Pacific Heights.
The movies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember, I never saw The Doors. I saw Pacific Heights. That was pretty good.
That was the creepy one with
Michael Keaton
and Meg Ryan.
Was Nicole Kidman?
Oh, was it Nicole Kidman? I thought it was Meg Ryan.
No. It wasn't Meg Ryan. I know it was Michael Keaton. I don't remember who the female lead was.
Wait,
man, now I'm going to have totally IMDb. Pacific Heights.
That was, she was married to Antonio Banderas.
Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith. Yeah.
See, between the three of us, we are a useless font of information.
Yeah.
Or a font of useless information.
And
a useless font of useless information.
At the very least, tonight we are a whole brain.
Just don't ask me where Alaska is.
We are not an island in the Pacific.
So for the featured cast, I chose Melissa McBride because I don't know that we've ever talked about Melissa McBride as a featured cast member before. And the reason that I did
glad you chose her.
What?
I'm so glad you chose her.
Well, do you realize this is the first episode in which we saw Carol?
Yes. But her evolution from this episode until now, wow.
She was so subservient and so submissive in this episode. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way she's come a long, long way.
Yeah. Was she there this weekend?
She was.
Oh, cool.
She was there on Sunday. She couldn't do both days, but she came on Sunday.
So she was born.
Her and Steven both.
Oh, nice.
Just Sunday.
I saw some pictures that you posted or that you shared with us of Steven.
Yeah, Steven was so sick too.
Oh.
I felt bad during his panel. He could barely talk.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I just read an article about his panel and him opening up about the death of his character.
Yeah, the funniest question, he was asked about if he's still watching and what he thought of Steven's season 7, and I think his response was something along the lines of, "Oh, I really enjoyed season 7. It just needed more Glenn."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well,
yeah,
just a quick thing about Melissa McBride as Carol. So and Thomas, I think you brought this up. She was working as a commercial casting director in Atlanta when she was offered this role.
Yep.
And she
retired.
Yeah, she worked as a casting director
Mist.
for 10 years.
Wow, the Mist was her last role, right?
Yeah,
and then she became
that was 2007. So I think she must have been a casting director before that, and maybe just had that role in the Mist, and then was like, "Okay, I'm done." Right. And now she's got this huge part.
And the funny thing is, she doesn't do anything else that I know of. I mean, Steven Yeun had movies and TV, some Norman Reedus had movies. I haven't seen. Has Melissa McBride done anything other than The Walking Dead?
So she doesn't have much. On IMDb, she had The Mist, which we've talked about, and that's her connection to Frank Darabont and Jeffrey DeMunn. She was in Pirates of Silicon Valley. And then she just had little guest roles in American Gothic, Profiler, Walker, Texas Ranger, and Dawson's Creek. And she did like some Lifetime movie, which I think it was called Proof of something. It wasn't Proof of Life. That's a Meg Ryan movie, but it was something along those lines.
Living Proof.
Living Proof. Thank you.
So you were a whole brain.
You would think she would. Yeah, she would like take advantage of the role she has and do what everyone else is doing, but
she'll probably never have to work again.
She does. Well, she has anxiety. I know. She doesn't do a lot of conventions because she gets bad anxiety.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, when she's in crowds and stuff. So
I wonder how she fared in Zombie Hordes.
Yeah. That I don't know.
She's probably a lot more focused.
Legitimately, though, because I'm not a big crowds person either. Like, I like to go to concerts, but I really don't like big crowds of people. And so I wonder if she can push past it working, or, it would probably be a little different for her. But I mean, if you really have I don't have a fear of crowds. I have a fear of large gatherings of stupid people. So it's not just crowds. I mean, I'm sure
So you mean the Democratic National Convention?
Oh, I knew you were going to go there. I knew it.
Sorry.
And he was the one chastising us for getting political last episode.
Yeah, but that was a softball. You just tossed that up there.
So, but I just, I'm sure all of the walkers on set are very lovely people, but yeah, it could be an anxiety thing that, you just feel the crushingness of that many people around you. Like mine's just, I don't like, I'm very short. I'm only 5 foot. And so I almost literally get stepped on in crowds. So I try to avoid crowds. So I get that.
You wouldn't do well in the hordes because the hordes like to have fun. Like, no, I know. I'll tell you a quick story they told us during the tours that I talked about. During that last episode, the second episode, when Steven and Steven was meeting Rick at the fence to save him.
Oh, right.
There were the hordes and hordes and hordes of walkers were there. And they shut that street down. All the businesses on that street were paid to close. Like they were given whatever they would normally make in a day. And they all agreed to close. One of them was a hairdresser or a hair salon who forgot to call one of their clients.
Oh, God!
So one older woman rounded the corner to walk to the hair salon. And all she saw was a horde of walkers standing there waiting to film. So since they weren't filming, they turned around and saw her and figured, why not? And they all started walking towards her and running towards her.
And then she died of a heart attack.
No. She survived, but they had fun at her expense.
What a great story to be able to tell your grandkids, though, Yeah.
You rounded the corner and all you see are walkers.
That's funny.
That's a pretty cool story.
You wouldn't do very well.
No. Plus, I have asthma, so I can't run. So I would definitely have to hang out with people who are not as athletic as because I hike and stuff, but I just can't run.
Oh my God, you're the group's Otis.
I was just saying the same thing. It's like
my other half is Otis. I cap him in the name.
It's like all those memes you see where they say you don't have to be faster than the bear. I just have to be faster than you.
Yep.
No, so your significant other was musing online today about needing to find another Otis, and I think we found her.
No, he's got a broken foot, so I think I could outrun him at this point.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to have to wait for the foot to heal before he has one up on you.
But I would probably
he gave me a good review.
Yay!
I would probably be able to get to safety, and then I would die of an asthma attack. So,
no, we would take you to the Vatos, and they would save you.
All right, so back to Melissa McBride.
I was just going to say a couple of things. So she was born in 1965. That makes her old like my old man. She's 52. And I was just thinking that in terms of her anxiety, I would think it would be more manageable in something predictable, like on set with a horde of walkers. Because when I think about big crowds, I think about the unpredictability, especially if you're someone famous like Melissa. I mean, you just never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I've probably been listening to too much My Favorite Murder again, but
you can never get enough murder.
That's right. But anyway, so that was all I really had about Melissa, but she's amazing. And the fact that she's got an anxiety disorder just makes her that much more amazing.
She's an amazing actress.
I'm so shocked at not just the mental evolution of her character on the show, seeing her in this episode and then, watching her now, but physically, like I Google image, this episode, and she almost looks like she is suffering from cancer or something with the short hair, but she also has a very puffy face. And now she's just apocalypse hardened and just totally badass looking. So, just even physically, her character evolved.
It's like they're aging her backwards.
Yeah, she looks better now than she did back in Tell It to the Frogs.
Oh, she definitely does now, yeah.
But then again, yeah. I think everyone does, though, because... look at Daryl. Daryl looked like a baby.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I prefer the Daryl look in this episode as to what he is now.
He needs to shower now, but that's about it.
He's
exactly
more.
What I was thinking.
More clean cut in this episode.
Yeah, get some hair out of his eyes and take a shower.
He definitely looks like the lost little brother in this episode. I mean, you can still see him as second fiddle to Merle and as kind of hanging on.
Right. Right.
Well,
so are we on to our goods?
We're on to our goods. So one of you guys lead off.
I will. So one of my goods in one of the first episode was when Rick had his emotional moment where he kind of brought you into the scene where he had a very real reaction. Is this real? And the reunification scene between him and Lori and Carl
I knew I should have gone first.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did all three of us do the same thing?
I guess so.
I've watched the show twice, and I actually caught that scene a third time. Every single time, I well up, I get very teary, and it was actually Chandler Riggs that did it. It was Carl, his bottom lip starts to quiver, and he, just that scream. I mean, he's 8 or 9 years old in this episode, and the acting out of Chandler Riggs was just amazing at that age. I mean, it is now, but I mean, for an 8-9-year-old kid to be that convincing and have that strong of a reaction to bring a viewer into that scene, just the whole scene is amazing, and I absolutely love it. So, I stole everybody's.
You stole everybody's
You
good,
did.
but I mean, mine actually is really similar to what you said, because I wrote down the whole reunited scene, and then I put in parentheses the looks, look. You have the look of Carl, the look of Lori, Then you see Shane, who
Shane.
looks scared out of his mind.
Yep.
And the
But
look
then-
that Lori gives Shane.
But when you watch, like when you rewatch it, if you really watch closely, Andrea and Amy are like welling up in tears.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Andrea had the gun to Rick's head like 2 episodes ago, and now she's seeing that it's Carl's father. So I mean, all those looks were, and even Dale. When you look at all of them, the looks just tell the whole scene.
And
Yeah,
the fact- Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna leave that out to see if somebody else picked up on it, but the Shane's look, like, I rewound it a couple of times and I watched Shane's look because, like, he did not look relieved. He did not look shocked. He looked like, oh crap, there goes
Yeah,
my
to me-
good thing.
To me, he looked confused because
Yeah.
I mean, it's his best friend who's alive,
And
his
there is
partner,
a genuine smile for that.
but it's also the husband of the
Right.
woman that he's sleeping with.
Right.
Well, and he seemed to earlier in the episode be enjoying slipping into the fatherly role to Carl. So
Yes,
it's
very
not,
much.
yeah, it's not just him and Lori. He's and Rick's the sheriff. You know, Shane was the deputy, and so I think he was king of the camp. You know, everyone turned to him and that kind of thing. So I think he knows that he's going to play second fiddle to Rick in every aspect now.
Right.
So one of the other
Exactly.
aspects that really got me about this scene was, did you notice, although they showed Andrea and Amy welling up, everyone was quiet. Like, there
I
was
didn't.
dead quiet when everybody was watching the family reunite,
I didn't.
which is pretty amazing.
I didn't notice that. I mean, but I mean, it was. They said everything they needed to say with just their expression.
Yes.
Yeah.
I picked this because this was one of the scenes that continues to hold up in this episode.
Yeah.
And even though I've watched it a whole bunch of times, I agree, Marnell. I'm still moved by this particular scene.
Yeah. I don't know.
Definitely. I don't know anyone that. How could you not be?
Right?
I don't know how many times they did that take, but every single, like, Chandler Riggs, like, when he turns around and sees his dad and is like, that bottom lip starts quivering and he yells, and it gets me every time. And I'm in my late 30s. I'm child free by choice. I'm the one who's like, don't kill the puppy, take the kid, you know? So for me to, like, get all emotional about Carl at this point, yeah, it was a very, very good scene.
Well, that scene's why I usually say, like I was saying before, why I say give it 3 episodes. Because that scene where they reunite, if that doesn't get you,
Yeah.
then nothing will.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So did
I
we
wonder
all...
if we all have the same
I
badge.
was just going to say that.
I was gonna say, so I'm not going first.
Okay, Thomas,
I
your
don't think-
turn.
I don't think we're gonna have the same badge.
I don't think so either.
Like I said, I mean, I really liked the episode, and I had to nitpick to find bads because I've seen it a dozen times, and I was even trying to think ahead while watching it. What am I going to pick as a bad? But the only 2 nitpicky little things that I could think of, I don't like. It has to do with 2 things with 2 characters. I don't like the way Dale was portrayed in this, because knowing how Dale was for the rest of his time on the show, he was always the good guy, the guy willing to do anything. He was always looking out for the group. When they asked him to borrow his like wire cutters or bolt cutters, he was like, "Well, I don't want to give them to you. What are you going to give me?" And I mean, that's not what Dale. I don't see that in Dale ever in the rest of the series. Like, he made up the stories about the truck or the RV being broken because he didn't want to cause rifts, and he wanted them to search for Sophia, and he's always looking out for the group, and now for him to be like, oh well, what are you going to give me if I give you my bolt cutters? I mean, the Dale I know would have just given them and not had any second thought about it.
Yeah, I can see that. But he didn't get his toolbox back, so I could see him being peeved about losing a bunch of tools and then somebody asking you for more.
Yeah. And then the other one was with Shane. I mean, I really like Shane through most of the episode, but when Rick is leaving to go back into town, Shane is scrounging through his bag and only comes up with 4 bullets for Rick's gun. But Shane's got like a loaded rifle. And
Right.
he's got plenty of ammo for his rifle. If you're that concerned about your partner going into town, give him the rifle that you have plenty of ammo for.
Yeah.
But it would have been
You're just going to give him
convenient.
4 bullets.
It would have been awfully
Right.
convenient if Rick had died, though.
Yeah, I don't think Shane was thinking that, but I mean it's possible. But those are the only 2 real bads that I had.
That's a really
I'm sure
good point.
Marnell, you probably have a lot of them because you're taking on the Brian role for this episode.
There you
I
go.
think that I am. And, I think Brian would back me up on this bad.
Listen to that. She's like, and I'm pulling out the stops. Brian would back me up.
He totally would. And I think as medical professionals, both of you could back me up on this one.
I think Brian just sent me a message. He rated it a 5.
Well done, Thomas. Well done.
So we know who's doing the drinking for all of us tonight. So, the severed hand. You have a hacksaw and you are in cuffs and you're trying to get out. Do you really saw through your entire wrist?
Oh my God. I can't believe it, but we
Well-
picked the same thing.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Okay, so Diane, what do you do?
Well, so I actually have to give my husband credit for this because we were watching it together this morning and he said, I just don't understand why he would hacksaw through his wrist when he could much more easily hacksaw through that bolt.
No, that wouldn't have worked. I was thinking
Okay.
when Marnell brought it up, I'm thinking, all right,
The thumb.
don't go through the wrist. I was thinking the pinky.
Oh, yeah.
That just saw off
You
a
could
pinky
probably-
so you could pull through the handcuffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you need your thumb more than you need your pinky.
Well,
Ah.
and you could even dislocate your thumb
Oh!
at that point. Yeah. Oh, I would much rather dislocate my thumb than hack off my hand.
Yeah, but how? I mean, how do you dislocate your thumb? I mean, what do you do? Pull it? I mean,
You
I'm
punch
pulling
it.
my thumb right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to dislocate it, but
So he could have avulsed his hand. He could have just peeled the skin off and while pulling it back through the cuffs.
Yeah.
But
I
here's-
just think that
oh, go
there
ahead.
was better things to do than hack off the entire hand.
yeah, but you're also he's also in that opening scene. He's so delusional.
Yeah.
That's exactly
So
where I was going to go.
he's probably not thinking straight. He hasn't had
Yeah.
any water or any food.
And he's coming down off of blue meth.
Right. Yeah.
That's exactly
And he's-
where I was going to go because he's
Yeah.
delusional. Plus, he sees the zombies lined up at the door trying to get to him, so he's panicked.
And
Yeah.
heat stroke.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of those things.
Yep.
But I mean,
And-
you're right. You're right. You should just cut off your pinky or your thumb and slide your hand out.
That
Yeah.
would be too logical, though.
But then you wouldn't get the really cool blade hand
Right.
thing that he has.
Well, and then somebody else would have to lose their hand because it's kind of an homage to what happens later on in the comics that hasn't happened in the show.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been threatened a couple of times, but it hasn't happened
you-
to anybody else.
You're talking about Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that'll never happen.
Yeah.
They
It's too
said
much
that.
in CGI.
Well, it sounds
Right.
like Robert Kirkman regrets it, too. I mean, doing that to his hero in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the books. He regrets doing that.
Well, I'll ask him on the cruise next year.
There you go.
Yeah,
I just want to say before we leave the subject of Merle, I just peace out, Yondu. I really enjoyed watching Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend, and he has a pretty big role in it. So
Yeah.
Are you saying he dies?
I'm not saying he dies. I'm just saying, peace out,
Oh,
Yondu.
oh.
You were awesome.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving a spoiler
You're one
there.
cool dude like Mary Poppins. Wasn't that an amazing scene?
Yes, that was funny.
Oh,
You're
seriously.
just Mary Poppins. Is he cool? Yeah, he's cool.
That's funny.
So
All
that
right.
was your bed? That was your bed?
That was my bad. Is there were better things to do than cut off the entire hand.
No, but I mean, Diane, that was your bed also?
It totally was.
Wow.
Although mine was stolen from my husband, which is that he could have cut through the bolt with the hacksaw instead of cutting through his hand.
Well, I don't know. I think they made a point of showing the hacksaw, and it looked kind of rinky-dinky.
But that's what hacksaws are for.
Okay, so I was actually watching this show about like prisons and stuff, and prisoners like come up with the craziest things. There was one that actually used Comet cleanser and dental floss and was able to basically make it abrasive enough and do it enough times. You know, he went through a lot of dental floss and Comet cleanser, but he actually sawed through a bar.
I can believe that.
Yeah. I mean, one of your favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption. It's time and pressure.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he was so panicked. It didn't look like any of the zombies were going to be able to get through.
But he was
delusional.
delusional.
His delusion.
Yeah. But I think I would have probably at least tried to start sawing through that before my hand.
Can I just say, totally diverging on your whole prison riff, that one of the prisons here in Alaska has a collection of things that they have found being smuggled in a not so savory way.
Please tell me one's a saw blade.
No, but an old brick style cell phone.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Wow. And who would want to put that to their mouth?
Right. But these are the guys who make hooch in their toilets. So.
Nice.
Yeah. If anyone offers you Pruno, say no.
Right now, I don't want any alcohol whatsoever.
Especially toilet alcohol.
Yeah.
None. I don't even want to use mouthwash right now.
All right, so the ugly. I'm going to lead off and do my ugly, which you guys already know. It's the whole scene where the women are doing the laundry and then Ed subsequently gets beaten.
Mm-hmm.
And it's particularly...
Now, is that an ugly good or an ugly bad?
Good. It's an ugly good, because I think that the exchange where they're all mourning the things that they lose, including Andrea saying, I miss my vibrator, and then Carol pipes up, me too, is really awesome. But then I don't feel bad at all about Shane beating Ed nearly to death. I feel like that was one of the few valiant things that Shane did in this whole series.
Yeah.
So it just kind of satisfied me.
I don't know if anybody would really feel bad for Ed, because they portrayed him as such a jerk the entire show.
Ed was the original porch dick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys, I didn't know this until I did some research for this episode. The title of the episode is Tell It to the Frogs. And it's a call to something Andrea says, or I'm sorry, not Andrea, Lori says to Shane, tell it to the frogs.
Right.
It is actually it's a saying. And it means, the saying is a metaphor for words going unheard or unaccepted.
Really?
Yes. I did not know that. That was a saying. That must be a Southern thing.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought she just said it because he was talking about catching frogs.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so it's kind of a double meaning of the episodes, but the whole episode had a lot of things going unheard or unaccepted and a lot of misplaced anger. And I think Shane beating Ed
Oh, yeah.
he was totally taking out his rage on Ed.
Oh, yeah, because he had just been yelled at by Lori.
Yeah, well, and like everything building up to that, Rick coming back and, Lori rebuffing his advances, and then Ed the previous night with the whole tiff with the fire and everything. I think Shane was a tea kettle, and he was just ready to blow, and Ed was convenient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was totally taking out his frustrations.
Yeah.
And he did a good job of it, too.
Yes, he couldn't have done it better.
Yeah, you look at Ed's face afterwards. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, so
is that your ugly? Or do you have another ugly?
That was mine. Do you have something, Marn? Or is this one your ugly too?
My ugly is neutral. I'm breaking the rules. I'm going neutral ugly. It was interesting. This episode, I think we had earlier talked about how this is kind of this is not a show about zombies. This is a show about people in the zombie apocalypse. And all of these strangers who came together, who didn't know, and they have a lot of them have big personalities. We were introduced to Daryl this episode. Ed, becomes a porch dick, and you have Shane, who's been kind of the leader of the group, and now we have Rick coming in, and he takes the lead. We have a lot of very big, strong personalities, and I just kind of have to think about like how what that would be like in the zombie apocalypse, where you have a bunch of strangers coming together for survival, but you all still like in the in between, between fighting zombies and finding food and shelter and fuel. Like everyone has to interact with everyone else, and you see the good side of it. You see the ladies bonding around the washing. And you see the bad side of it, Daryl, kind of explodes on Rick about Merle, and Ed and Shane go through what they're going through. And so my ugly was just all of the people coming together and having to survive, and what that would be like, and how much could I put up with?
Well, so
you're neutral ugly.
What's really funny about that, though, is that you just brought up Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for me again, because that was kind of a theme in that movie, was that our group of Guardians, they're kind of struggling with each other.
Yeah, they come from all different walks of life.
And they were all kind of thrown together, and they're kind of struggling with each other. So same kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, it all goes back to weekend movie viewing.
Yeah, you guys will have to talk about that. I only know there's a little tree called Groot or something.
I am Groot.
That's all I know about the movie.
That's funny. So Thomas, what was yours? Oh, go ahead.
I thought for sure that all three of us were going to have the same ugly for this. Especially since last episode, we all had the same ugly of the introduction of Merle.
Right.
My ugly was the ugly good with the introduction of Daryl. I mean, he shows up, and it's such a different Daryl than there is now. Like, they gave him, they didn't realize he was going to be the character he was. I think he was only supposed to be in, 3 episodes or 4 episodes. But they gave him such great lines. Like he was kind of funny. He was still kind of seemed like he was young, and but you knew he was a redneck. But when I did my rating, I said the on Golden Pond hats, because he made that he made a snip to Dale about it, which I thought was hysterical. And then when he's fighting with Rick, and he's like, "Oh, chokeholds are illegal." And I mean, all these lines they gave him that were just like, it was such a different Daryl. But
the way he describes the zombie as he's kicking the zombie for eating the deer,
Right. Right. And I mean, this character has. I mean, you talk about Carol's
Character
transformation.
evolution. Yeah.
Look at Daryl. He went from. I mean, even a couple episodes in when when they're looking for Sophie and he's saying, "Am I the only one that's Zen around here? We're gonna find the little girl." Now he's in the episodes. Now he's like grunting and barely has anything to say.
He's feral in the recent episodes.
Right, but now, I mean, in this first introduction of him, I mean, I see why. Like, I've never understood that if Daryl dies, we riot stuff. But I mean, in the beginning, he was such a great character. I mean, he had the good looks that women like. But now, I mean, he's turned into a much different Daryl. I think his writing was better back in the beginning.
Oh, that's funny. I just think he's evolved a lot. I'm not sure that I think the writing's any better or any worse, but he is a totally different person.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, he has evolved and he is different, and I just think they gave him more to do in the beginning because they didn't realize he was going to be sticking around.
Right. They didn't know he was going to be the cash cow that he is.
Right. Exactly. Because he was only scheduled. I think he was only scheduled for 3 episodes. And then I think he was supposed to die, but he's made it.
So far.
And he hasn't cut his hair since.
Or washed it.
Right. So that was my ugly. The intro of Daryl Dixon, following my ugly from last week, the introduction of Merle Dixon.
That seems very appropriate.
Thank God there are no more Dixons. That would be next week.
That we know of.
Right.
Well, so do we have Rotting Potpourri, or do we want to be regaled about Walker Stalker Con Nashville?
Well, I have a couple. I have a couple potpourri
also.
things,
And you also have the big reveal. So I guess we should start with
the reveal, right?
Shall we start with Rotting Potpourri and the? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say we can throw it all into Rotting Potpourri and a mix of Walker Stalker Nashville.
Right on.
So I'm going to start out Rotting Potpourri, and we'll just let you.
Mine, if you steal mine, I'm gonna.
Well, you have all the great stories.
You have the big reveal, so
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
So a couple of the things that you had talked about with the introduction of Daryl. We all know who the walker was that was feeding on the deer?
Yeah.
That was number 1
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
So in case
Greg
the listeners
Nicotero.
don't know, Greg Nicotero.
I want to know if he's still got his severed zombie head.
Well, I bet you he does. He's still got Herschel's, right?
He has Herschel's. I bet you he has his. He never brings it out. So, I mean, it might also just be
probably an aquarium somewhere.
Yeah, he's got an aquarium at home.
That would be so cool.
Because he does a couple of zombies in the series, doesn't he? Every once in a while he'll dress up.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he keeps a little memento from every zombie he is.
He was the zombie that, well, in the next episode, bites Amy.
Right.
Because
her prostheses were so carefully placed.
Right. He was also a zombie when Glenn and Nicholas were on top of the dumpster. I'm not sure. I thought he was the zombie that killed Dale, but I'm not positive.
I think you're right. I think he might be. Now we're going to have to know for...
Yeah, we're going to have to look that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he might be, but I'm not positive on that. But I... Oh, you have more.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, there's something I read about, I don't know if you want to say it's a rumor, why Carl hasn't cut his hair since the show started. You'd never see Carl's hair is getting longer and longer, like Daryl's.
Lay it on us, man.
A lot of people, and it makes sense. There's the scene where Lori is cutting Carl's hair, and Shane is there, and they're talking, and Shane said something about wait until you shave, it's gonna hurt. One of these days you'll be longing for your mom to cut your hair.
Yeah.
And Lori, as we all know, dies, and Carl had to shoot her, so maybe he doesn't want to get his hair cut because his mom's not doing it.
Oh.
That was an internet story going around, so I don't know if it has any merit, but kind of makes a little sense.
Yeah.
It does. So the other thing in that scene, when you referenced Dale and his on Golden Pond hat, so I guess midway, and I'm gonna go back and look at this now. Midway through the episode, why am I never remembering his name? The old guy.
Dale.
I just said it. His hat changes from halfway through the episode. It changes from blue to white because Robert Kirkman stole the blue one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed that.
I'm gonna have to go back and look now. That is via Walking Dead wiki. But yeah, his hat changes color mid-episode because Robert Kirkman has it.
That's really wild.
Yeah.
I never noticed that either.
The funny thing is they could always fix that too in post.
Oh.
Because I used to work in TV, and you can do color correction where you can change the colors of anything that you've already shot.
So somebody missed it.
Yeah, somebody missed it because you could easily switch that in post production.
Yeah.
I mean, I missed it. I've seen these episodes a dozen times. I've never seen that.
I want to go back and look to see if it goes back and forth. You know, where if like at the beginning it's white, in the middle it's blue, and then at the end it's white again. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting that like Robert Kirkman's just like, I want Dale's hat. I'm going to take it.
Well, and that was back in the day when they weren't sure they were going to get another season. So I'm sure he was like, my one brush with fame. Yes.
And as of the airing of the date of this episode, they were signed on for season. They had just signed on for season 2. But of course, like when they were filming, they had no idea. But the air date of this episode, the AMC had ordered 13 more episodes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably filmed all 6 before. I'm assuming they filmed all 6 before they aired the first one.
I bet you're right.
Yeah, because they film seasonally, I think, for the weather.
Yeah, normally from May to November.
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of Lori's lines. One that I really thought was funny, and I think it's an ad lib when she's cutting Carl's hair and they're talking about frog legs, and she says, "I'd rather eat Miss Piggy." And yes, that came out wrong. I think the yes, that came out wrong must have been an ad lib, and it was really funny, so they kept it. And then I've always hated the way she delivered the line, "And you're going to take them, aren't you?" Or isn't that right? Or something like that when she's talking about she's pissed at Rick because he's going to go back to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, I didn't understand that because the way she said that, when she delivered it, it sounded like she wanted that to happen. She wanted him to take it.
But
and then
she sounded mad at him.
See, I took it the opposite way. I took it as he's going to do the right thing and take you back there to fix it. And then later on, when he's talking about it, she starts getting angry at him, asking, why would he do this? Explain to me why you're going to do this.
I just thought the whole delivery was bizarre, you know?
Well, her whole character was bizarre.
Yeah.
But she had very expressive eyes.
Yeah, she kept looking at Shane. Kept looking at Shane like, shut up, Shane.
Yeah.
And she looked really
hot. What happens in the woods stays in the woods.
And she looked really hot this weekend. The pictures that you posted, I was like, wow, she looks good.
Oh, she is beautiful. She still is beautiful. So since we're on Sarah Wayne Callie's.
Oh, yes. So did she answer the question, or did John Bernthal answer the question?
I didn't get to talk to John. His line was really long and
probably Punisher.
And he doesn't do a lot of conventions, and he's more wanted. And if I don't need their autograph or a photo with them, then I try to stay clear of the big names.
Yeah.
And I saw him like a month ago in the city, so I didn't have to. But I got on Sarah's line, and I got up to her, and she's really super, super nice.
Right on.
Very friendly, very friendly. And so she signed the poster that I had, and I said, listen, we've been having a discussion or an argument on the podcast about Shane I didn't even tell her what it was about. I said, I just have to ask you a question, and I need to know what your answer would be. So she's like, okay, go ahead. I said, were Lori and Shane banging before the apocalypse? She didn't even hesitate and said, absolutely not.
Really?
And I said, and I looked a little stunned, and she's like, as a matter of fact, I'll tell you, I spoke with Robert Kirkman about it, and I always forget the name of the director, the Shawshank.
Frank Darabont.
I spoke to Robert Kirkman and Frank Darabont. We all had a big discussion, and they were not doing it before the apocalypse.
Oh my God. Okay, so you and Marnell score points for you, because Brian and I were convinced that they were doing the deed before the ZA.
Yeah, she said, and even as I was walking away, she's like, if it hadn't been for the apocalypse, they never would have gotten together.
Oh, cool.
That I actually don't believe. I don't believe if it wasn't for the zombie apocalypse. I think that, like, if her and Rick ever broke up, Shane would totally make the move.
I don't know about that.
I think she was such a traditional wife in so many ways that I'm not sure that she and Rick would have broken up.
Well, now I'm going to have to go and ask John Bernthal.
Was Shane just waiting to pounce, man?
Yeah, if the apocalypse didn't happen and Rick got divorced, would Shane have pounced on Lori?
This has suddenly gone from Walking Dead to Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Next Walker Stalker is in Boston that I'm going to. So
right on.
We'll see if he goes.
Okay, like, you got to meet Herschel, which is really cool, but you got to meet Jerry Cooper Andrews.
And they were hanging out taller.
Jerry, he is such a nice guy that we were standing in his line, and a couple people in front of me had this little girl. It was her birthday, and so he's taking pictures, he's signing stuff for her. And then right before she leaves, he picks her up and he's holding her in the air and she's laughing and they're taking pictures. So it gets to be my turn, and I go up to him. I talk to him. It was really nice. He signs my poster and goes to take a picture. And I said, wait a minute, you're not going to pick me up like the little girl? I'm 6'1", and I'm about, I don't even want to say what I weigh, but I'm much more than the little girl was. So he chuckled when I said that to him, and then he wrapped his arms around me, and he picked me up.
Oh, that's cool.
He was so nice. And then when we were done we took regular pictures too and whatever. And when we were done with that, he was giving everyone cobbler.
That is so awesome.
He actually right before you leave, he would hand you a plate of cobbler.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, no, Jerry was so amazing. Everybody there loved him. Everybody loved him.
That's
and
totally
I think
awesome.
This was his first Walker Stalker count.
Well, so he's going to be in Portland, which you all know I was really planning on going to, and I even have tickets. And then I changed jobs, and the person I was going to go with ended up, she's going to have shoulder surgery right before the con, and she's just like, there's no way. So I'm not going.
Bummer.
I know, giant bummer, especially because really more than anybody I was looking forward to Jerry and Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Well, Ezekiel canceled for this one a couple days before because he's been sick.
Yeah, I saw his Twitter account and he was like, please, I would have never canceled if I could have avoided it. So I figured there was something going on.
Yeah, no, he said he was sick for about a week and he really just needed a couple days off to try and get over it. But they had so many people at this Walker Stalker.
Yeah, it looks like.
They had Richard, a
Yes.
really nice guy. I think his name's Carl Mackinnon or something.
I know it's Carl because he was a featured cast.
I totally mispronounced it. But it's funny because a friend of mine, a guy that was staying with me down there, he brought a cantaloupe, and it looked so real. He's online with this fake cantaloupe, and he had it signed by like Richard and Jerry and all these, and it looked so real. Everybody looks at him and is like, "Why are you having them sign a cantaloupe that's going to go bad?" But he had it signed by, and even Melissa McBride. He was telling me he went to Melissa McBride and her manager handed her the cantaloupe to sign, and she's like, "This is the first cantaloupe I've ever signed."
That's awesome.
But I mean, they had such a great lineup there. It was, and the panels, like there was a panel. They ended the con with a panel with just Stephen Young.
Oh, nice.
And he's talking. And he was sick. He was doing his best. He was talking, and Michael Cudlitz snuck in behind him just to say hi and gave him a big bear hug and kiss on the head. And during. I'm going to cough. Hold on. During Michael Cudlitz's panel a little earlier, I guess it was in Nashville, and John Rich from Big and Rich is a big Walking Dead fan. So he came out and he hosted Cudlitz's panel.
I saw that you posted that.
Yeah, and Christian Serratos came and joined Cudlitz because they all love each other.
And Brian wanted to know how she smells.
Yeah. Well, that's because I got close to every Walker Stalker. I have to go over and I have to talk to Christian and say hi and congratulate her on her new baby. But she's always super friendly. I mean, she was even more friendly this con than I think ever I've seen her.
Did you listen to Stephen Yun's him talking?
To the panel?
Yeah.
I listened. I was there for most of it. I missed the very, very end.
There was an article written up, and I thought it was really interesting that he talked about, people were really upset at his death, and people, thought it was too gory, and I guess they had a ton of complaints and blah, blah, blah. And he mentioned that it was no more gory than anything else that they had put on the show. And he specifically mentioned Noah's death. Yep. And Noah was the one that got trapped in the revolving door and sacrificed himself to save Stephen Yun's character, Glenn. And so we all watched Noah get ripped apart by zombies. So he makes a really good point that it is no more gory than a bunch of the other things that we've seen. I think it was
Herschel got decapitated.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean his point was 100% correct. It's the character that died.
Yeah.
It's not the way that the character died.
The heightened emotion, and that it was deemed to be kind of an unnecessary death. It's not like right. Noah who sacrificed himself to save somebody, or
also because it was a human that did it to him.
Right.
Although if you think about it, it was a human who killed Herschel.
Herschel. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
but Noah was torn apart by walkers, and most people die via walker.
Right.
Well, and what's his name committing suicide in front of Glenn, and the spray getting all over Glenn.
Nicholas,
like there's just there's you could pick out a dozen or so death scenes that were just as gore. I mean, for God's sake, look at how Lori died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And now Carl won't cut his hair.
That's
So, yeah, no, I saw most of that panel, and Steven's always a great guy, and he's a great guy to interview because he'll mix comedy and like James Frazier, the CEO of Walker Stalker, was the one hosting his panel, and they were cracking each other up the entire panel.
That's awesome.
And the people were getting up asking questions and were in tears still because Glenn was dead.
Wow.
But Steven's a tree. He was really sick and he made it through. But I mean, everybody at Walker Stalker is amazing. The volunteers. Oh, actually, they're not volunteers anymore. They're called ambassadors. They're amazing. The whole convention is amazing. If you want to meet any of the cast, that's the place to go because they have it down where you don't have much of a wait for most people.
So I'm going to wrap us up because we're at an hour and 10. But before we go, what was your favorite part of this weekend?
My favorite part of this weekend?
Yep.
Oh God, you should have given me a heads up on this one.
Sorry.
You want to wrap? No, it's so hard. Oh no, you know what? Before you wrap it up here, Josh McDermott.
Oh,
I love the pictures.
I went to Josh first thing Saturday. I was the first person on his line.
Yay!
And he was there. He was talking to some of the staff there before, and he didn't realize that the con opened. It was like 9:05, and he looked at his watch. He's like, oh, I didn't mean to keep you guys waiting. And he looked up and he's like, oh, Tom, how are you? He came over. He gave me the biggest hug.
Oh, good.
And I said to him, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry for the a-holes that have totally like ruined your social media experience. And he said to me, he's like, listen, he's like, it's just a break. I'll be back. Don't worry. And we talked for a few minutes. I gave him his birthday present because it was his birthday yesterday.
Nice.
And
he and
he's
Brian
super.
Share a birthday.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
Yesterday was Brian's birthday. Happy birthday, Brian!
Yeah, Brian. And Josh.
Happy birthday, Brian. But Josh. I mean, he's just the nicest guy in the world, and he gave me like 3 hugs before I walked away, and then took a whole bunch of selfies.
Yeah, those were awesome pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just between him and Ross Marquand, they're the nicest guys you could ever want to meet.
Nice.
I mean, it's hard to pick highlights because, I mean, I go there a lot for not even the celebrities, for friends that I know that work there and everything. But, I mean, there's so much to do with these cons. But for some reason, this weekend, I think Josh would probably be the highlight just because he's not on social media anymore. You can't talk to him.
Right.
And that used to be a huge part of his persona. He would be on doing these live chats or doing these tweets or anything. And just to be able to give him a hug and say happy birthday, and for him, and he emphasized to me like at least 3 or 4 times, he's like, don't worry about the idiots on social media or whatever. He's like, I'll be back. It's just a break. Don't worry about it. So that would probably be the highlight, I guess.
That's
Excellent.
Cool.
And I told you the low light already.
The bar crawl, the pub crawl.
Oh well, no, I wasn't even going to go there. But the low light would be the karaoke Eric.
Oh,
so go to Patreon.
Yeah.
If we get $10,000 per month,
Yeah.
I will upload the video.
All right. Now there is a challenge for the Biters listeners. Go to our Patreon page.
10,000. All right, you know what? 5,000 per month. If you have 5,000 per month, I'll upload the video after 12 months.
All right. Well, you guys, so Marnell and I are going to podcast Fear tomorrow night. Or no, we're going to rewatch tomorrow night and podcast on Wednesday.
Yes.
I'm going to give Rob a little reminder that we've got a couple in the bank for him now. So hopefully you guys will hear this soon. And as always,
Take it
one dead
day at a time.
time.
We're never gonna get it. Never.
Brian's gonna be like, you amateurs.
Don't get bit.
Yeah, especially now that they're trying to create the zombie virus.
Right?
They're reanimating the dead in Latin America. I'll post that to the Biters page. That was an interesting article.
All right, everybody, have a good week.
Good night.
Bye.